for her health aid. Right now, Republicans are trying to rip away health care from kids like Vivian. The cruelty is truly breathtaking. I ask for one Republican senator, just one Republican senator, who plans to vote for this bill to look into Vivi's eyes and tell her that her health care is just not a priority for this country. You know, Mitch McConnell said to Republican senators that he knew they were getting calls about Medicaid, but not to worry about people losing their care because, according to Mitch McConnell, they will get over it. So I ask the Republican senators to look at Vivi and Vivi's sisters and Vivi's mom and Vivi's dad and say, if Vivi loses her Medicaid and her wheelchair and her therapists and her health aid, tell all of them that they will get over it. Because here's the deal, Vivi won't get over it. Her family won't get over it. The people of North Carolina won't get over it. None of us, Massachusetts, Idaho, Louisiana, none of us will get over it. The cruelty here is off the charts. But the part that really burns is the Republicans are trying to slash the health care that keeps kids like Vivi alive so they can hand out more tax cuts for billionaires. It is beyond cruel. It is obscene. I am angry, and we should all be angry. Because instead of playing at the pool at the park like a regular kid on summer break, Vivian had to come here to Washington to beg senators not to cut her health care. In a country as rich as ours, that shouldn't even be a question. Now, I actually don't think that my Republican colleagues have lost their hearts. They have lost their spines. It seems that all they can do now is bow down to Donald Trump and his billionaire donors. They will bow down, even if it means hurting families, community hospitals, and nursing homes in their own states. Trump wants the Republicans in Congress to hand out giant checks to the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations, and the Republican senators are willing to do that, even if it means kicking Vivi to the curb. Republicans know what they're doing. They know that this bill will hurt people. They know that this bill will kill people. And though it's hard to believe, they just look the other way. But on behalf of Vivi and millions of other kids and mamas and seniors and families that rely on the life-saving care that Medicaid makes possible, my Republican colleagues should grow a spine and stop this awful bill in its tracks. If it wasn't bad enough that this bill is set to rip away health care from 17 million Americans to pay for tax giveaways for billionaires, it actually has a bunch of other filthy giveaways buried in it too. Who wins if Republicans pass this big, ugly bill? Billionaires, Wall Street, big tech, big oil, the wealthiest Americans, and the biggest corporations. Big oil will get a special get out of paying your taxes card, while millions of people lose their health care coverage. Billions of dollars for big oil, nothing for Vivi. Meta, oh man, Meta, there's a company that's really struggling. Meta will win $15 billion to incentivize them to do research in 2022, 2023, and 2024. Think about that. Unless a time machine comes with this, what Meta does in those 3 years is already done. But under this bill, Meta gets a $15 billion check on the day this bill passes, simply for existing, while families lose access to their health care. Wall Street wins big with a provision Republicans squeezed in that would slash funding for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Giant corporations want the opportunity to cheat American families again. So Republicans are desperately trying to take the cop off the beat. And who loses thanks to this big, ugly bill? Americans who can't afford health care. Families who need a little extra help putting food on the table. Grandmas and grandpas in nursing homes. Little babies and their mamas. If Republicans pass this bill, 17 million Americans will have their health care ripped away. That number has kept growing as the Republicans keep making more and more changes to the bill. For them, it is just a question of how many more Americans they can rip away health care from. This bill would also make the biggest cut to food assistance for families, kids, and veterans in American history. And here's one to underscore: 1 out of every 4 nursing homes in America would have to shut down under this bill. You know, my Republican colleagues should just call a few seniors who are in nursing homes in their home states and just go over the plans for where those folks are supposed to go next. What exactly do the Republicans have in mind for them? Maybe call the daughter of someone who's in one of those nursing homes and explain how she has to become a full-time caregiver once this bill passes. Maybe call just a few of the people whose lives you plan to tear apart. Budgets are about our values, and Republicans have made their values clear. They are willing to throw millions of Americans under the bus so that they can help out a handful of their billionaire buddies and giant corporations. They should be ashamed. Here's what Democrats believe. Democrats believe that no baby should go hungry so that Mark Zuckerberg can buy another Hawaiian island. Democrats believe that no person with a disability who needs a wheelchair or a home health aide to live independently should have to give that up so that Jeff Bezos can buy a 3rd yacht. And Democrats believe that no grandma should be pushed out of her nursing home so that Elon Musk can take a subsidized rocket ship ride to Mars. It doesn't have to be this way. What if, instead of tax breaks for billionaires, we make the rich pay their fair share? What if, instead of slashing health care for our kids, we make it possible for every American to see a doctor when they're sick without breaking the bank? And what if, instead of giving big oil more giant handouts, we make universal child care a reality for families all across this country? We can tax the rich. Damn it, if Jeff Bezos can afford to rent Venice for $50 million for his wedding, he can afford to pitch in his fair share on taxes so the next kid has a chance to make it big, and the kid after that, and the kid after that. We can make life better for working people. We can make it easier, not harder. We can lower costs for families, not jack them up even more like this bill does. We can put families first, not billionaires and billionaire corporations. Democrats believe this. Democrats are willing to fight for this. We will vote no on this awful bill. And for kids like Vivian, for seniors in nursing homes, for families who rely on home health aides, and for the millions more Americans that this bill will hurt, I urge my Republican colleagues, grow a spine and vote no. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Senator Morgan.
President, before she leaves the floor, I want to thank my colleague in particular for putting a human face on what this is all about for us on this side of the aisle. That small child, the senior you were talking about, I'm going to pick up on what you said, and I thank you for your leadership. Mr. President, I'm going to get into the specifics of this horrifying